Border czar Tom Homan is headed to Minneapolis. He will take over Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, operations there. The White House is suggesting the administration could reduce the number of federal agents on the ground in that state if, and only if, local leaders and law enforcement cooperate with the federal government. I'm Harris Faulkner. You are in the Faulkner Focus. So Tom Homan likely looking to ease tensions in Minneapolis, the city very much on edge after fatal shootings by federal agents there and chaotic protests in the aftermath. Homan is set to meet with Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey today. And all of this follows President Trump's phone calls with Frey and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. All describe the calls as productive, Walz giving more detail about his conversation with Trump.
I asked that we have a fair and independent investigation into the murder of both Renee Good and Alex, and that we have to be able to do that. And he said, we'll look at that. We'll take a look at that. And I said, we just have to reduce these numbers. We started out with that. And he pledged that, look, I'm going to send Tom Homan in. We'll do things differently. It was cordial. I think he understood this. I told him that this is unsustainable. And I said, quite honestly, no one wants this. And I hope that's true. No one wants this.
Here's the president on the same topic, those phone calls.
I had two very good talks. I had Jacob Frey and I had Governor Walz, and I mean they were great calls. So let's see how they report it. But they were very nice calls, very respectful. What we need is their criminals. They have criminals, and all I said, just give us your criminals. And if you give us the criminals, it all goes away. Usually we're embraced, but sometimes we're not. And when we're not, it just makes it harder.
And anti-ICE agitators, again, have gathered outside a Minnesota hotel. They were saying that they believe CBP, the Chief Border Patrol Officer, the commander, Greg Bovino, was staying there. And this is what they do because they think he's inside. Police and federal agents were forced to make arrests there. I don't think you have to force them. They should be arresting those people. When agitators allegedly started throwing objects at officers, damaging property, administration hailing an appeals court ruling now because of all that you see. It keeps on hold restrictions on how law enforcement can respond to criminals like what you see on your screen. Former acting DHS Deputy Secretary Ken Cuccinelli is with me today in Focus. First, though, let's go to senior White House correspondent Jacqui Heinrich. Jacqui.
Harris, today, Tom Homan is set to meet with Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey to effectuate this reset President Trump put in place yesterday with separate calls to Frey and Governor Walz. But the state's attorney general is still pushing forward with lawsuits to try to stop the ICE surge and also force the federal government to preserve evidence in the Alex Preddy shooting investigation.
We're going to carry out our suits because we need to get some law on the books, because even if they do stop the surge, they can resurge, right? I hope Homan, who has a background in policing, will use that and maybe things will be better. But again, Mr. Homan's not known as a soft touch either.
Yesterday, CBP Commander Greg Bovino got word that his at-large position was effectively being dissolved and he'd be returning to his California Border Patrol sector. DHS officials have made clear he was not fired. They've also been emphasizing DHS Secretary Kristi Noem's job is not in jeopardy. But the White House has distanced itself from some of the most provocative statements made by DHS leadership in the aftermath of the shooting, which are likely to be revisited again when Noem testifies before Congress.
Are you standing by calling him a domestic terrorist?
Well, we'll let this investigation that Homeland Security investigators are leading, the FBI is supporting, and CBP is doing a separate internal investigation.
Meantime, the White House is promising to reduce the footprint of federal agents in the Minneapolis area if state officials work cooperatively to turn over illegal criminal aliens. This was President Trump's offer to Walz and Mayor Frey.
If Governor Walz and Mayor Frey implement these common sense cooperative measures that I will add have already been implemented in nearly every single other state across the country, Customs and Border Patrol will not be needed to support ICE on the ground in Minnesota. ICE and local law enforcement can peacefully work together, as they are effectively doing in so many other states and jurisdictions.
So we've got no word yet on what their response to the president's offer was. We will see the president a little while from now. He's heading to Iowa to give remarks on the economy and could speak to press before departure. Harris.
Jacqui, thank you very much. Thanks for getting us started here. Ken Cuccinelli, former acting DHS deputy secretary. Good to see you today in focus. First of all, what should the very first thing that Tom Homan does when he puts his feet on the ground in the Twin Cities, what should that first step be?
Well, the first step should be to reassure the agents that are there that the administration has their back. When you lead troops under fire, and in this case, law enforcement under a lot of pressure, they need to know that you're going to have their back. That doesn't mean they have free rein to do anything, but it does mean that you're not going to back down from protecting them. And the second thing he ought to do is to really push on this point of cooperation regarding turning over criminal aliens. Governor Walz said, oh, we've been doing that. And we all know that's not true.
Yeah.
So words are not going to be the final arbiter there. It's going to be the actions in Minnesota that Tom Homan is going to elicit. But he's the perfect guy for this job.
Boy, I don't even know what you say to somebody like a Mayor Jacob Frey, who called things murder before he had even seen anything, before the nation had even really known details. I mean, that's problematic no matter what, because those words will never go away no matter what is said at this point. But I want to get to this. DHS explicitly laying out just what ICE agents are up against. The department posted this: anti-ICE agitators are threatening the families of our law enforcement. We will hunt these sickos down and put them behind bars. ICE officers are facing a more than 8,000% increase in death threats against them. And one horrific receipt is linked in this post, a voicemail. Listen.
You're a fucking fascist pig. You should fucking kill yourself. I hope your wife dies. I hope your mom and dad die. I hope everything wrong that could go in your life happens. You should kill yourself. You're fucking disgusting. I hate you. Everyone hates you. You're a fucking murderer, and all of your friends are fucking murderers. Your
reaction to that?
Well, Harris, I hear a lot of things in there. First of all, I hear a really demented person. Second of all, I hear sort of in voice the embodiment of the hate that's been being stirred up by Mayor Frey, Governor Walz, and and Governor Newsom, and so many others on the left. They want this violence. They want this chaos. This is not an accident for them. This is the desired outcome. And they're getting it, and it is tragic for many people, and it's threatening to ICE officers. I will tell you a major difference with this administration from even when I was at the Department of Homeland Security in the first Trump administration is the support of the Department of Justice. The aggressive support of the Department of Justice to go after the stalkers of ICE agents' families makes an enormous difference in those agents' ability to, one, to do their job and fulfill their mission, but also to go home safely every night. And that is absolutely critical to the administration pursuing and achieving its goals.
Well, and what you're talking about
is
something that Tom Homan has mentioned on this very program. He shared recently that there were threats against him, his wife. He didn't go into detail about his family, and that's a blessing because you don't want to give people more than what they deserve to know. But that is worth knowing. The man who's going to lead now, President Obama sent him in on this mission previously. He is somebody who has received an award from that president.
That's right.
While the politics are toxic, Tom Homan is the right guy to send in. President Trump is making this move now, and it is right on time. What do you say about it?
He's got over 30 years of law enforcement operational experience at every level. He's no diplomat. But he's a firm communicator of the president's policies. I think he's the perfect person to bring about both a de-escalation and success of the ICE mission, both of those things at the same time. And as you noted, Harris, for a year, he's been doing this at his own personal risk. So he continues to be a hero for the American people.
Well, I want to get to this, more backlash over this. We reported yesterday on a shameful comparison by Governor Walz. Important to note, today is Holocaust Remembrance Day. Just take this in.
We have got children in Minnesota hiding in their houses, afraid to go outside. Many of us grew up reading that story of Anne Frank. Somebody's going to write that children's story about Minnesota.
Disgusting. I lived in that state. He's a mockery.
It is disgusting.
The Holocaust Museum had a scathing response. Quote, Anne Frank was targeted and murdered solely because she was Jewish. Leaders making false equivalencies to her experience for political purposes is never accepted. Despite tensions in Minneapolis, exploiting the Holocaust is deeply offensive, especially as anti-Semitism surges. And surge it has, in fact. The Anti-Defamation League reported a record number of anti-Semitic incidents in this country in 2024. You know we've been covering it, more than 9,000 of them. Now he's mixed in some other problems, the governor. Such a knack to make it messy and dangerous.
Well, again, his goal is this chaos. It's hard for regular people who are watching and listening to you and me, Harris, to understand this. He wants the chaos. He thinks it hurts Trump more than it hurts Governor Walz. And so they know that people are going to get hurt, maybe even die. They are okay with that. That's how far they'll go in their political virtue signaling. They are willing to risk and sacrifice the people who are there encouraging to come out and obstruct law enforcement. I'm not going to call it protesting. It's protesting when you do it in one place. It's obstruction when you're stalking law enforcement to impede their operations. And that's what Governor Walz and Mayor Frey want. It's what they're getting, and people are getting hurt and, in fact, dying because they're entering into confrontations with law enforcement that put law enforcement at risk.
Well, we have a new sheriff in town. President Trump has put somebody on the ground now with Tom Homan, who's going to be able to make a big difference, as you've told us today. Ken Cuccinelli, always great to have you on the program. Thank you.
Good to be with you, Harris.
Hey, everyone. I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.